Good afternoon, everybody, and a very warm welcome to Mildenhall and Districts. And today we've got the much long awaited video that I keep promising. And so we're going to have a first look at Arklow Quarry, which is the new extension on my layout. And so today we'll be taking a little brief look at the kind of inspiration and my thought process before we go over to what I've actually done on the extension. So this promises to be quite a long video, but I think it's important that I sort of go through the thought process and my research, just so when you see what you see, you can understand why I've done what I've done. So that's kind of like the whole kind of premise of this video. So before we go on to that and start that, just to let you know, I've got a Digitrax video to do. So for those of you who've got Digitrax systems, I've got a Digitrax video to do. And I've also got quite a big rolling stock update to talk to you about as well. So they're going to be the next sort of two videos, and I might be out and about at some point. So like I said, this is all about Arklow Quarry. And basically this is, like I said, I've been talking to you about this for a few months now that I've been working on it. So today's the day where you're actually going to get to see what I've been up to. So I'm going to spin the camera around and I'm going to show you my TV screen so you can actually see what I'll talk you through the images that you're seeing on the TV screen. So hello and welcome to my computer screen, and you're looking at Google Maps, and this is an image of Arklow Quarry, and this is in Settle. And the reason why you're looking at this is basically during my research I was trying to find ways of producing a quarry in a small space, and the space that I have to play with is 9 foot long by about 1 foot at its shortest width and about 18 inches at its deepest width. So it isn't very much space to do a quarry scene at all. And so I was looking on YouTube about quarries to see if I can get any inspiration. And sure enough, I found a video on YouTube, and I found a couple of videos on YouTube by the same person. And he did one at Ribblehead Quarry, and he did one at Arklow Quarry, which is what you see here in front of you. And Arklow Quarry took a real big interest to me because the views and angles that he took whilst he was filming, and like I said, if you go onto YouTube and you sort of search Arklow Quarry, you'll come across him. He's called Northumberland Snapper, and you'll see exactly what I mean. Because when you look at the bigger picture of a quarry, you've got all of this here. And that is a huge amount of space to try and model. And it's just not feasible. And I've seen some people try and model quarries, and they buy this stuff from Batman Scenecraft. I know did some quarry stuff and everything like that. But as John would say over at Piccadilly, I just wanted to create a flavour of a quarry, just so you get the idea of what I'm trying to do. So rather than modelling all of this here, the bit that I'm really interested in is just this bit here and this bit there. That's all all of that, forget it. I'm not interested in that bit, because here on the right, when I'll zoom into it, is the railway line, and that comes all the way along past here, and then the train goes past this point here. There's a point here, and then it backs the train in all the way into the quarry, into here, where there's 3 sidings just down here. Now from this angle, which I've just zoomed in, you could probably make out a little bit more clearer the railway line just running across here. This is the main line here, and then like I said, there is the spur that leads off the main line, which you back in, and then you could probably make it out down here that there is 3 stub-ended sidings. And so I've got a little bit of this, which is the entrance. That's the entrance there. And the idea is that the lorries come in here, and as you can see by the road markings and, well, the paths, you can see the tracks in which the lorries come down, and then they deposit the stone and all the rest of it along here. And then the front loaders will raise it and load it onto the train. If we zoom it in some more, you can now see that this is the spur, just this little bit here that I've been showing you. We've got a little crossing here, and then we've got 3 sidings that are along here, and then we've got the entrance here. So we're modelling a little bit of this. The 2 sidings actually. I haven't got room for 3, but I've got 2. So again, it's based on Arklow Quarry, but it isn't. So please don't shoot me and say, "Oh, that's not very prototypical." I've just done what I can have a look at and see what I can model. And then you've got the ballast piles here, and basically I am modeling this section here and up to the spur. So this is the sort of cut out bit that we're sort of modeling here. Okay, and all that quarry that we saw at the back there, we're not modeling at all, because we're modeling it from the point of view where I am standing about here or so, and we're looking out this way. Okay, so we're standing about there looking out. We're not looking in, because if I looked in, then I'd have to make and do all of this stuff, which I'm not going to do. So the flavour is basically this bit here. I hope that's clear for you. And that's what I'm going to be modelling in my 9 foot by 1 foot, essentially. The majority of it is just 1 foot wide. So that is kind of like a bit of background information, how I'm looking at things. Like I said, thanks to Northumberland Snapper, he brought this video to my attention, and basically he's given me the idea. And like I said, if you really want a full flavour, he actually does a full working. The video is about an hour long, and but it's well worth a watch, because if this is something that you're interested in modelling, it really does give you an idea of how the operation works. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this down. We're going to show you some snaps that I've taken from said video. I've just to give you an idea. Now you can see here, we've got a front loader here. There's the entrance along the back. And then afterwards, we've got the wagons here. And you've got 1, 2, 3 sidings here. So this is kind of what we're going for. If you look at this picture here, this is the picture of the type of locomotive that you can use, which is GBRF in most cases that run here. And you've got the level crossing, and you've got these Acura scale wagons that you can get hold of. I do particularly like the graffiti on this, to be honest. I quite like it. But anyway, so as you move along here to this next picture, you can see how the railway line sort of spurs off on this curve to join the main line, which is the main line running along here. So basically I'm sort of modelling kind of all of this bit here. But like I said, it's not identical by any stretch of the imagination. It is loosely based, and the inspiration is based on Arklow Quarry. If we look at the next picture, you can see, like I said, where it comes in, and you can see the front loaders at work. You can sort of see the piles here, and you can also see some crash barriers. On this next view, again, it's like an extended view out, and you can see that there's a slight embankment here. You can sort of see that the background scenery, which I failed to mention, that's kind of what I was going for. That kind of sort of hilly, sort of dales, forestry area. That's kind of the scenery and backdrop that I was going with. So these are all things that I'm bearing in mind. So like I said, if we go back to this picture, which probably highlights it the best, you know, if you can imagine that, this is the bit that I'm modelling here, and this section here where this line of trees are, is almost like the back scene. That's kind of like the back scene that I was going for, something like that. So that's where we were. So the next picture along shows us a bit of the working, where there's a chap here who's manually going to walk across to change over the points, to line the switch to be able to back in and back out the wagon, take out the wagons. Also to note some of the catch pits that are here. So that's something that's going to be modelled as well. And so it's all these things that I'm taking photographs of because it's reference for me. And as you can see here, you can see the train just leaving, either leaving or backing in. I can't remember which way around it is, but I'll explain that as we get to my layout. And also you've got a van, so that's the guy who's probably got here earlier, who's switching over the points, waiting to receive the train and helping him to guide the train in. You then looking at this photograph, and you can see that this chap here, he's still here. He's walking down, and he's basically on the walkie-talkie with the driver. He's guiding the driver in to turn around and tell him how much the distance he's got left to go before he's due to stop. So again, that's another point of reference. And then if you look at this is the most inner track, which is closest, which is this one here. And as you can see, you've got a slight ramp here. You've got the crash barriers here, so the front loaders don't go over. So that's what that is. And then you've got an overall view of what it's like. And again, this is the backdrop that I'm going with. And you can also have a sneaky peek here. I don't know if my cursor will show it to you. I hope so. Basically, there's a lorry there. So I've got a lorry there to represent that he's going to be offloading the stone for the front loaders here. One there to load the train. And all the meantime, the train is just here, just sitting here, waiting for the instructions to be able to either move the next load in or take the load out, or whatever the instructions happen to be. So in this view, you can see that it's actually 3 sidings, but I'm only modelling 2. So that'd be that one and that one, because I haven't got any space for any more. And I also wanted to model a bit of an embankment, so that's what we've got going on here. And it's the same here, but again, you get the picture, you've got the front loaders, you get an idea of the scene, and you also get an idea of the lorry. See, the lorry's coming in right at the back there, and he's going to make his way all the way across here and all the way around and down to offload here. And hopefully my cursor is pointing all this out to you. And then afterwards, this is kind of like the final shot that I have here. And again, you've got the guy here, he's standing in, he's guiding the driver distances. And then you've got the lorry here, who's offloading. You've got some buildings and the car parking spaces. You've got the backdrop, and then you've got the front loader, and you've got the crash barriers. These are all things that I'm looking to model, and I'm just doing my research, trying to understand how it all works. And I've watched this video quite a few times, and it's very interesting. I mean, to some people this might be quite boring, but it really is an interesting working. He's also done this Northumberland stuff. I also did Ribblehead, which is very, which is very interesting too, and it's very similar to this. Now, the one thing I haven't pointed out in any of these photographs that you've seen is the thing that took me aback about this video is if you look at the position and look at the picture that you're actually directly seeing in front of you, and that is, you can see what you're modelling here. This is basically what we're modelling here. You know, so all of that Quarry stuff that's all going on in the back that you saw in Google Pro, you don't see any of that. So, you know, so I don't really need to worry about modelling any of that at all. So we're not going to. So the only bit we're really seeing and getting the flavour of is basically this. The sidings, the loaders, the lorry, the piles, and the entrance and the backdrop, all to give slight hints and a slight clue as to what's happening in this area. We're not going for the full-blown, you know, because you just haven't got, well, most people just wouldn't have the space, even in a big layout, that will take up a huge amount of space if you to do it justice. But this is, again, just to give you a sort of representation or a flavour as to what's going on in that area. So that's a brief outline, and I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you found that very interesting, that just a brief outline of how my thought process works when I'm trying to recreate this. Because when you see it, which I'm going to show you in just a moment, then hopefully you'll understand all the components and how I've put them all together to create the scene. And also to show you that you don't necessarily need a huge amount of space to be able to create a quarry. Because like I said, you know, you could be spending a lot of money on stuff from Batman, because they did do quite a few components for a quarry, and all these resin bits, especially now, they just cost a fortune. And then I've seen some people struggle with it, where they'd like it, but they don't quite understand how to put it together. So hopefully this video kind of shows you that you don't necessarily need to have all those massive components and a load of machinery to create a quarry scene. So let's go over to the layout, show you what I've done, and see what you think for yourself. So let's skedaddle. So here we are at the beginnings of the quarry scene, and the reason why is I just have to show you how the quarry connects to the layout. So generally speaking, this used to be where the nuclear flask terminal used to be, just over here on this corner, just so you get an idea where we are. And we also used to have Wigmore Station here. This is basically the far end return back to St Anne's. So just so you've got an idea of where we are. You can see where we are, and that is St Anne's Station over there. So just so you get your bearings and you know exactly where I am. So basically the inside, or the return inside, is actually on the other side of that board, which is the hidden fiddle yard, and then it comes out, and then it comes here. So this is where we're going to start, because this is where the quarry connects. And as you can see straight away, the biggest difference is the back scene. And the back scenes, I should tell you, are both ID back scenes. This is got Forest Hills Pack A and Forest Hills Pack B from ID back scenes. These aren't self-adhesive ones, these are ones that you have to stick on yourself, and these are the matte versions. And there is approximately 15 foot of it. I had to buy 2 packs because it comes in packs of 10 feet. And unfortunately, I needed 2 packs, so I had to buy 2 sections. Here you can see in front of you, which is something that you haven't made, but I'm still not happy with this area. This area in front of you is still a work in progress. This is still basically what I've done is, I don't know what you've actually seen since the last update, but these are homemade trees which I tried. I'm not happy with them. They're probably going to go, but for now they're there. I built this bridge, and the reason why I built this bridge, I know it seems a bit busy, but that's because I've been moving vehicles around, and just to get them out of the way I've put them here. This is kind of like to try and give an out to have vehicles to come and use this area here, because otherwise it just goes directly down to the bottom where it used to, where there's no real much point to have all these vehicles up here. So basically they just come in and out over the bridge and out and over the other side. Now yesterday I went to the Portsmouth Railway exhibition, and I came back with some inspiration, and I bought this. This is ready made, so I didn't have to have any hassle of building it. And I was looking for a building, and it cost me £6, and it's got a light in it. I mean, I've tested the light and it's not very good, but I don't want it anyway, because the idea of this bit now. I'm going to turn it into an abandoned area, basically. The nuclear flask terminal never really worked for me because it wasn't really straight, and so I couldn't really offload and load properly, and I really didn't like it. I really didn't think it fitted in, so I got rid of that. I'm going to get rid of some of these lights. That's why I say that this is still a work in progress. I also, on the back of the basis of buying this building, I had some inspiration to make my own Nissan hut. So this is my own Nissan hut, which I made last night. It took me a few hours to make. But as you can see the ribbon, you can see the detail, and you can see that it's basically, the whole point of this area is going to be abandoned. So I haven't finished it by any stretch of the imagination. This little Nissan hut cost me absolutely zero. Nothing. Totally free. This is just made out of odds and ends, and I don't know how much they cost on the internet, but anything resin is going to cost you some money, but this cost me absolutely nothing, and the detail is there. If this is something that anybody is interested, I can use this as a project for Susanna's can build with me. So please feel free to let me know if it's something that you're interested in looking at. So that's cool. A free sturdy building, Nissan hut. So then we come, as we move over to here, again, I've just done some basic scenery work. You got two lines, but they're both going this way. They're both needed because that spur there leads off into the quarry, and basically the quarry trains would be using the outside lane to get back onto the main line, which they would access via this point here, just before the railway bridge. And then this is an old Hornby signal, which I haven't really dealt with yet, but it needs to be tidied up and painted up, but that's going to happen. But then you can see how it then starts to link up, and as you go into here, this is our first look at the quarry side. This part here where you can see that there's a join, this is the link, so I can remove this link and everything on top of it, and basically to be able to pull the main piece forward like I did before, like this unit, I could pull it forward so I can still move everything around. It's still on wheels. The link is just a lift up link, and again, as you can see, it's got the skirting all the way around, and as you can see that's also got the skirting along there, and this is what I've been waiting on this week, and this makes it all look very, very finished. If I sort of show you down, you can see that the skirt runs all the way along, and if you go down there, you'll see that it runs all the way down to the end, and that tidies it up. And then you've got this is the fascia board, which I've carved and contoured, and then after we've got the Mildenhall District sign, we've got somewhere to put the controller, and again we've got the South West Trains logo. So I'm just going to drop you down and you're going to see this. So here we are, here's the beginning bit of it. This beginning bit of it isn't finished. In fact, it still isn't finished, but we're not too far off. So on this top bit, I was kind of wondering what we're going to do, and I didn't have any real idea. And then I had some classic vehicles knocking about, and I thought, let me just try it, put it up there. And I thought, yeah, I quite like that. So I thought we'll have like a little classic car meet up there for now. And I quite like it. I might just leave it. I was thinking about just leaving it as a footpath and maybe putting some trees there, blend it in with the background a bit better. And then, like I said, this is kind of like the crossing area, but again, this isn't finished. This whole side bit isn't finished, as you can see. All of this needs to be ballasted and blended in a lot better than what it is at the moment. This bit is still a work in progress. This transit van will represent the guy who's coming here ahead of the train. He's preparing for the train. I need to put a ground frame here, ground lever frame, but as you can see, it's ballasted. This lifts up. This is just resting on the top. It's not actually stuck down or glued down. And if we sort of try and see if I can get a bit closer, you can see sort of how it goes towards the end of the layout. And if you can sort of see the lorry right at the very end, so it's coming in and it will come down, and there's some heaps over there. I'll take you closer down there. You've got one of the front loaders loading the wagons, and then there's the other one picking up some more ballast to go into the wagons. You can also see that there's a slight incline and a slight ramp, and that is so you can load these taller, higher wagons, so you can reach over the wagons to dump the ballast into them. Because if I left it flat, the front loader doesn't reach, so that's why there's a ramp, and there was actually a ramp on the pictures as you saw earlier. Also, the back scene is to represent what I saw. There's also a little embankment on the side which we saw, and as you can see, it's been static grassed. This is thanks to my good friend Nigel. He lent me his static grass applicator, and because I did have one of the cheap nasty ones, but I really didn't like it. But this one that he lent me looked really good, and I had to go at it, and it's done a cracking job. And like I said, I've just contoured it as best as I could. I'm going to take you off the tripod for a closer view, so bear with me a moment. So we're going to be moving about a bit, and sorry for the shadows. Just so you can see, there's a little classic car show going on at the top here. Wasn't quite sure what to do with that, but I thought just for now, just to fill a space, see if I liked it, just leave it like that. But like I said, I need to blend all of this in. The ballasting hasn't been done. I'm going to get rid of some of these lampposts as well, because like I said, this isn't anywhere near finished. So this is the bit that I'm really going to be working on next. Down this end, like I said, you can see it's contoured. You can see there's a bit of a rock face going on. I've made all of this out of the Oasis blocks, like I normally do. And then, like I said, you can see the back seam going on all the way down the end. So these are my Cura scales. Then you can see the sort of chalky, sort of greyish finish on the, and patchy, because that's how it is. So it's got to be patchy and chalky and dusty. I mean, I know the front loaders look a bit clean and a bit new, and so do the wagons. But as they say, Rome wasn't built in a day. And then as you come down here, you can see that the front loader is also picking up the ballast. And again, up here it isn't finished either, but essentially the lorry comes in from over here. There'll be sort of like some hidden trees to make it out like the road comes from over this way somewhere, and then it will come back down and all the way down. So if we just sort of look at it like from this angle, like I said, it's only a foot wide at this point, but it's just to give you an idea of what it's like. This is just my version of it. And I've actually had some fun testing this. I've really enjoyed it. There's a lot of play value. There was a school of thought that I might have put a point here, or a switch, as the Americans like to call it, and do some sort of run around. But I didn't want to do that because I thought that would be too easy. So I wanted to sort of give you some work to do. So that's the whole point. And also Arklow sidings, Arklow Quarry, I should say, it's actually got these stub head sidings. So mine's called Arklow Quarry, not Arklow, but mine's called Arklow. But as you can see, there's a little bit of vegetation. There's a small embankment. I've still got to fit the crash barriers, which I haven't done yet, but I will be. I'll also be fitting in the catch pits, which I've also made, but that's not on yet. So you can see how it fits. And at this point, the widest point, this is about 18 inches, 17, 18 inches, because it needs to marry up with the rest of the layout. This is where it connects to the rest of the layout, so that gives you sort of a better idea of how that connects to that. And then we've got some more sort of take you down just so you can sort of see how it works. There's also some lighting underneath here. That's basically for me and my bedside table, so I don't have to actually have a bedside lamp. This unit, I should say, took me about an afternoon to build and put together. It doesn't take very long. It's the standard kind of bookcase arrangement, which I've done, and then put some plywood on top. But like I said, it doesn't take very long to put together. If I just sort of step away, you sort of get an idea of the back scene. Like I said, it starts there and it's about 15 foot. So if I just try and keep it in line so you don't see anything else on the top, you get an idea of just how long it is from a distance. And there you go. So that's the first look at my quarry. So this concludes the end of today's video, and I'd just like to say thank you for watching, and thank you for supporting the channel, and also thank you in advance for your comments. And until the next time, it's going to be goodbye from Mildenhall and Districts, and this is Arklow Quarry. And the next video will be either a rolling stock update or a Digitrax update, I should say. So until the next time, it's bye for now. Bye bye.